Hi everybody, I'm Kim and this is my Crafty Chaos Emporium. Thank you so much if you're coming back, and if this is your first time, thank you for giving me a try. No markets this week, but a little bit of market prep, a little bit of a yarn haul, a couple of new patterns that I've tried, my no-brainer whip that's going, and some people asked about the things on my shelf, so I'll touch on those. I've also got a question for you about something that I'm thinking about doing, and I'd just like your input on. First of all, let's have a look at some of the yarn that I picked up this week. I did manage to take a few videos from Spotlight when I went this week. So I went to a Spotlight I haven't been to for a really long time, like 10 years long time. I went to a couple of secondhand stores, so I don't know if other countries have them, but St. Vincent de Paul runs a secondhand shop. We call them Vinnies. So I went to a local Vinnies and another Vinnies further away. I was out having lunch with my parents, so there was a couple of shops that I was able to stop at on the way. Then I did a sewing basket trip, and I have some footage of that. So I will show you through those, and we can have a look at some of the yarn that I collected. From the new Spotlight, I just picked up some more of the sparkly yarn just in case they ran out, because they are actually discontinuing the sparkle yarn. So that's the valuable. It is a bit of a cow to work with because it's quite stiff. Last time I used that, I think I used a 7 or an 8. Originally, like, I got a bad one from the batch and I went up to a 9. So yeah, it's not the best thing to work with, but it does look pretty good. And then I picked up some of this. Not sure if I've shown you this before. This is the Jolly and Joy candy yarn, and it's made out of something that's a little bit like a shopping bag. So that's really handy. I've used that for some of Jenny in my spare time crochets key rings, and I also use it for some bag handles for my shopping bags that I give out at the store. So then I went to another Spotlight. And at that other Spotlight, they had very little in the mill ends. So I did get one more green mysticals, which everybody's seen, so I don't need to show you that. But they had these yarns. And look, I would normally avoid these, but somebody had stuck a hole in the bag so you could actually feel the yarn. And so I thought I'll give these ones a shot. I did have one once before and I swore I'd never get it again, but these felt different. Note, they were not different. Anyway. This is orange, yellow, white. So it's just 3 strands of a thin chenille. You can see there the orange, yellow, white twisted together. These I actually used a 9mm hook for, just to make them a little bit smoother. So I didn't know what I was going to do with the orange, but I will show you what I did do with the orange in a second. So there was that one with the 3 colours. There was also this black and white one. Normally I wouldn't buy something stripy, but I did have a few plans for that. So that's just white, 2 strands of white, 1 strand of black twisted together. So they came in a bag of 4 hanks of this, 3 hanks of this, and then a similar one in light blue, which I'll show you in a moment. And the light blue, sadly, there was only 1 hank of that. It is really lovely. So not, as I said, it's not soft. It makes a very well-structured product, but it was just something different and we all love something a little bit different. So I grabbed a few of those. Then they also had the Tiny Treasures. Tiny Treasures is like a velvet, but it's super duper thin. It's also one of the valuable range, and they've got these down half price. So they're only $3 now for 100 grams. And I think there's quite a lot of meters in these ones. Yeah, 150 meters. So I just grabbed a few more of those. I got this beautiful blue. I don't know if you can tell. It has got a few different shades of blue with a white background. But you can see there that it's super duper thin. Really, really thin. So I got the blue one. I got this lovely one, which is, I think I might have showed you before. It's purple, grey and white. Really lovely. I also picked up, and I don't think I've grabbed it, but excuse me, I have. So this one is yellow. So just a few different shades of yellow plus a bit of white. So like I said, they are super duper thin. It says use a 4 mil. It says use a 4 mil hook. So that would be roughly around the size of an 8 ply acrylic. So I do tend to double those up. So either two strands of these, but they do go gappy when you do that. So I prefer to double them up with a chenille, with another thin chenille. So normally I would double them up with white. This one I would probably use like a lemon yellow. I've got some of those. This one I would double up with maybe a grey or a purple. But yeah, they're just handy to have for little details and things. So I'll show you how I've used those this week as well. So that was all of my yarn haul. I did actually pick up a couple of things at the sewing basket. So I'll grab those and show you those too. So just before I show you the stuff from the sewing basket, this is the other one that I picked up in the mill ends, the same as the orange and the black and white. But this one is, oh gosh, it's really not showing up, is it? This one is a really pale blue and a white together. Same sort of texture, although it's not, doesn't feel quite as soft. It feels a little bit tougher. It actually looks a little bit, I'd say it's a chenille, but it looks a little bit like a toweling when you work it up. So, you know, I think if you were making like a dishcloth or like a face washer or something out of that would work as well. Anyway, so those were from Spotlight Mill Ends. So at the sewing basket, that's the secondhand yarn store run by a disability organisation that I've mentioned a few times. They can be pretty hit or miss. Sometimes you can go in there and I can come out with bags and bags of stuff. Other times I just walk out with nothing. I did pick up a couple of things, not anything is super exciting, but just to show you the range of what they've got, and you would have seen in the video as well. So I just picked up a couple of 4-ply cottons, nice bright blue, and this really yellowy sort of green colour. So that was $2.50 for that. I'm not sure what brand that one is. That's a Lincraft cotton. This one's got no brand on it, but it was $1 for 37 grams. So someone's probably used a little bit off a 50-gram ball, but still $1 and $2.50. That's not too bad. The other thing that I picked up, and again, oh no, it has got a brand on it. I lied, but it looks to me like it might be a generic sort of brand that you might pick up in one of those junk shops. But this was $1. It was a 50-gram ball. It is definitely just a 100% nylon. There it is. But it had these gorgeous colours in it. And yes, it's a little bit hairy, but I'm okay with that. So it's kind of, I mean, I would just be making something up at this point. I have no idea what this is called. But that one I would absolutely double up with a pale blue or a mint green or a purple, and that would just make the most gorgeous thing. And when I do make a gorgeous thing, I'll be showing you straight up. So that was the sewing basket yarn haul. Nothing fancy, as I said. A little bit of Spotlight yarn haul. So then, what did I actually make with those? Okay, this one took a while to actually come up with something for that one. I had a plan at the shop and then I forgot. Got home and decided, yep, that's a chicken. So I went with like a big ass chicken, really big one. No pattern. I'm aware that it resembles other chickens that there are patterns for out there, but it's just one of those things that I saw and I'm like, yep, I want to make a chicken and I don't need a pattern for a chicken. It was a bit tricky with eyes because somebody forgot to put the safety eyes in before closing it up. So it's got embroidered eyes, little beak, but it's a nice fat one. That one's bigger than most of my larger categories, so that'll probably go into my fancy chonks, and I don't know, I'll probably put that one up for a price a little bit higher than my normal chonks. But it's come out nice and soft, but it's also really solid. So, you know, if it was I feel like that the solid is going to help it hold its shape a little bit longer, so you don't have to worry about it sort of collapsing on itself if someone decides to play with it. So yeah, I won't say it's baby friendly, but it doesn't have safety eyes, and it's probably pretty huge for a baby. I mean, it's probably about half the size of a baby. It's a big chicken. So I still have about 2.5 balls of that. Oh no, I lie. I have 1.5 balls left of that. So I might do some little chickens. If you can think of something else to do with that black and white speckle, that would be fabulous. So with the black and white speckle, that's what I did. Now, the orange speckle, of course, I have to go jellyfish because jellyfish is my thing at the moment. Absolutely adore making jellyfish. They are almost a no-brainer for me. I really love it. And again, no pattern because, I mean, it's a fairly standard shape. So this is how the orange and yellow turned out, and got the tentacles under there. So you can see the tentacles in that one as well. So that turned out really, really quite nice. And I do love just the little twist at the end of these. So there was that jellyfish with the orange, the chicken with the black and white, and then, excuse me leaning over you again. Haven't finished this one yet because I had to go to a meeting today, but this was half done this morning. So this is the blue and white. I don't know if we can, how I make that show up any better, but anyway, that's the blue and white one. And I've used, so Spotlight had these new yarns that they called a polar something, polar fleece, polar chenille, polar, can't remember, and I throw the labels out. But anyway, it's like a thick velvet, and I wasn't a fan. I made the bluey out of it. So I took the ice blue of that one, and I used that to make the ruffle on here and the center arms down there as well. So I've got I've got these tentacles that are the same color there, and I've just got to add a few white ones to go around the outside. I absolutely love making these. Love, love, love making these. They are simple, and like I said in my last video, they were so effective. They people were coming around the corners from my to my stall because they could see the jellyfish hanging up the front. So yeah, if you're doing a market stall, try hanging things out the front if you haven't already, because it does catch the attention of people going by. So those, that was what I made out of the yarn from Spotlight Mill Ends. And I just forgot that on here, this was the variegated Tiny Treasures I used on there to pick up on the yellow in that yarn. So you can see that's all speckly. It's just, anyway, a really simple chain thing. So that's those. I don't have a lot to restock for the markets. It was a very slow day. As I said, I only sold 19 things. So one of my big things that went was the big skull octopus. So I did have to remake one of those, and that's this one. This is by Faney Toys, a pattern on Etsy. I absolutely love it. I just love the way that it looks. It's simple to make. I really like the way that you get the color in here for the eyes. I won't go into how to do that because that's in the paid pattern. But yeah, that's much, much smaller. So the other one that I had, I would say its head was more that size, much, much bigger. And I used a different yarn. And this time I crocheted like a grown-up, and I did yarn under. So it's come out completely different. The stitches look different. I know that makes it smaller and tighter. I like the way it looks. It does appear to me to be more even, but it's really, really hard to break 50 odd years of yarn over. So I will get to that. Anyway, so yeah, I've remade one of those. Absolutely love it. Probably going to make it in some different colors as well, with some different colored eyes, and we'll see how that goes. I don't think I'll be able to charge as much as I did for the other because it is quite small, but we'll see. It's beautiful and soft. So the yarn I used for this, a couple of videos ago, I showed you this amazing velvety yarn that I picked up. And if you watch, I think Litza, I'm not sure if Jenny got some, but I know Litza picked it up. It's a packet of 12 balls that have multiple colors in the ball, and they were reduced from $50 down to $5. So I ended up with like 6 packets of that. So that's the white and the black from there. I was absolutely completely covered in shedding from those because it is not the best quality yarn, but for $5, you know, you use what you can. So yeah, that was it is nice and soft and velvety, but I was like covered in crumbs, absolutely covered. So then the other thing that I made this week, and you might remember in my last video, I showed you that I had made a stitch, and I talked about making a bluey because I was biting the bullet, putting on my big girl pants and making some licensed things. So I was digging through looking for something else, and I found this red microfiber yarn, which is very, very textured. And I normally wouldn't make something like this, but turns out that there was an Elmo in there. So this was a YouTube tutorial that I found, and I'll put the name up here and link it down below. I cannot remember the name of it right now. So yeah, that was Elmo. So he was a bottom up, then do the arms and the legs. Really quite simple, actually. The only thing I tweaked was, actually, I don't think I even tweaked anything on this now that I look at it. I didn't. I did the pattern as is. What I would tweak, though, is I would probably do these black circles a little bit smaller. But otherwise, I'm relatively happy with little Elmo. So we'll see how he goes. I have got a little bit more of this red yarn yet. I don't know if you can see, but it's really quite textured. It's what I used to use before I found blanket yarn. It's by a generic imported supplier, Yatzil. Available in discount stores in Australia, and it is marketed as a microfiber. I do that with a 5mm, and I'm quite happy with it. It's not as smooth as blanket or chenille, but it does have great colours. It is really cheap, and if it's the only thing you can get, then it's well worth trying. So yeah, that's little Elmo. And I think, just quickly looking around, I think that's all I made. I didn't make anything else yet because I'm still in the process of doing that jellyfish, and it's only been a few days since I did the last video. And thank you everybody who watched and commented, and all the new subscribers from that last video, because there were quite a few of you, and it turned out to be my, I mean, I haven't had many videos, but it turned out to be my second highest ranking video so far. So thank you. That was nice. Right, so another thing that I just found that I wanted to show you that I picked up at the sewing basket. This is the last thing that I actually found at the sewing basket, and I forgot about it. It's just sitting here on my table. They do have lots and lots of buttons and things as well. But in amongst the buttons, they have those, you know, the long tubes that buttons come in. So they have some of those full of safety eyes. So I did pick this up, and for the life of me, I cannot get the bloody thing open. Excuse me. There's only a couple of these, but they were cheap. So these, I got these for 20 cents a pair. So I got some little yellow snake eyes, and a pair of green and a pair of blue snake eyes. So for 80 cents, I got 4 pairs of snake eyes. That was really handy. So I can put them in the stash. I think they're like, they look to me like they're 10 mil. I'd say that they're 10 mil. So they can go on snakes, or they can go on some cats, I think, too. They're not glittery or fancy, but, you know, 20 cents, why would I leave those there? The last thing that I have to show you that I've been making is my no-brainer. I did ask a couple of videos ago, I said I had all of this baby yarn, so I had an 8-pack of that and a 6-pack of, I have a 8-pack of that and a 4-pack of yellow. And I did ask for some ideas, and most people sort of said blankets and things. I did look at doing the corner to corner. I did look at a few other designs, you know, the star blanket and ripples and things like that. But I decided that I wanted something that was a no-brainer, that, you know, when I was tired of counting and tired of doing the tight little single crochet, something that I could just sit and do. So I've just started a plain old granny. So this is just what I'm going to do for the pattern is 4 rounds of the variegated and 2 rounds of the yellow, just to separate it. So I'll just do that until the colour runs out, pretty much. I'll leave enough for a border, so I'll probably save a ball of that, although I can always pick up another ball. They've always got this stuff at the sewing basket. What I thought I might do, though, and I'm not sure if it would work, is I thought I might just make a triangle for the corner that would work as a little hood. So whack a baby up in there in the hood, and then do the wrapping around. It's been close to 40 years since I wrapped up a baby, so I don't know if that would work. Let me know anyway. But I was thinking of just putting a little right angle triangle there in the corner and see what happens. But this is turning out nice and soft, and really quick. So it's just this super thin yarn, and I'm using a 5mm because I do go quite tight. And yeah, simple granny. No chains in between, 2 chains in the corners, done. And I'm reversing each round as well, which makes a difference too. So yeah, that's just my no brain, too late, can't be bothered doing the other fancy things. if you watched my last video, you might remember this crochet hook that I showed you. I don't know, can you see? It doesn't seem to focus very well, and I haven't got my glass. If I put my glasses on, I can see something. So crochet hook has got a few little beads, lovely big focal that says, I crochet so I don't choke people, save a life, send yarn. This is from Vicky Vass Designs on Instagram. She is a friend and a colleague, and she does the same markets that I do, and we work in the same job, in the same school. So Victoria has made these crochet hooks with the beads and the focals on the top. She gave me this one to test out. So this is a 6mm that I've been using this week to make all those things I just showed you. Well, most of those things I just showed you. I'm actually really enjoying this. I have had to put this on because, as I've said before, these knuckles in my hand are very painful. And so when I hold a hook, because I hold a hook like this, please don't be horrified, but that's how it goes. When I hold a hook like that, it grinds on those and it's really, really painful. So I use these makeup sponges. So I wasn't sure how it would go. I did try it for a little while without that, and it wasn't too bad. It didn't seem to be as painful as some of the others, but that also could be because my house is just slightly warmer and my hands aren't as sore. But anyway, so that's on there. I wasn't sure how this part would go. It turned out really not to be an issue at all. And in fact, when I hold this to work, so I put my thumb on that part and I work like that. So this part actually comes out further than a normal crochet hook does, and it sort of sits there under my wrist a little bit. So it's not actually digging into my palm or anything. All of these beads are soft silicone, so they're very, very flexible. So even though you do end up holding a few of those in your hand, they don't, I found they don't hurt your fingers. So yeah, they're really cool. So I was at Victoria's house this morning. We had a meeting because we go back to school next week. So as we were there for a meeting, I came away with another crochet hook. So I will get some more eventually when I work out which ones I need. But look at this. How could I leave that little axolotl behind? Look at it. How cute is that? So purple bead, sparkly bead, and a beautiful little purple axolotl. That's a 5mm. So it's a pink hook, whereas that one's more of a purple. She has got a website coming. If you're Australian, she has got a website coming. She does these, she does the pens, she does the key rings and the lanyards, and they are absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, keep an eye out if you're interested in these. She has the website coming soon, and I've just decided I love these, and I have seen them before, but I didn't think I would be interested. I didn't think that they would work for me with my hands being so fussy and just me generally being so completely fussy, but I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the balance. I love the length. Yeah. So if you're interested and you're local, this might be something that you would want to keep an eye on. I will let you know when the website goes up and she's taking orders. In my last video, some people asked about these things on my shelf. This is a series of farm animals that I created based on a little metal chicken figurine that I have on my garden on the balcony. I loved the shape of it. It was tall and skinny, and then I thought, oh, let's see what we can do with that. And so I made the chicken. This is basically the same shape as the thing on my veranda, but I did put in a few extra features and make it a little bit bigger. And then once I did the chicken, I thought, what else can I do with that body shape? And so I've got a duck and a sheep and a pig and a cow. And I've also done 2 other types. I will be releasing these patterns. So I don't know, let me know. A couple of people have said, a couple of people in the last comment said, oh, what's that thing behind you that you didn't talk about? And those are cute. So if you think they're cute and if you think that's something interesting, let me know, because I make these things sometimes that I think, what a freaking brilliant idea that is. Everyone's going to love that. And turns out, no, it's just me and nobody else loves that. So it is a lot of work to do those things. If you've had to go at writing a pattern and putting it together enough that people can read it and getting the photos and the instructions and the test and all of that, it is a long process, and I don't want to put all of that energy into it if it's something that people are like, ew. So yeah, let me know what you think of those. Then the other thing that I wanted to ask your opinion on, these jellyfish. I love making these jellyfish. I don't follow a pattern, and I am fully aware that there are many, many, many patterns out there for different types of jellyfish, but they are all pretty much the same, like the loaf cats. You know, Annie Caraway did the beautiful loaf cats pattern, and then suddenly everybody's like, oh yes, but I'm doing it this way and I'm doing it that way. Great, more power to them. That's how crochet works. We get ideas from other people, we tweak things to suit ourselves. What I was thinking of doing was, because I love these, I absolutely love these, and I have actually managed to make the pattern over and over and over and over and over again. I haven't written it down anywhere. It's just up here. Mind you, I lie, because I did them with Tracy and I really quickly wrote out a few instructions and gave them to her. And then Tracy very thoughtfully in her video said that maybe I should do a tutorial for these. So here's my question then. If I were to do a tutorial on the YouTubes here on making one of these, so obviously the pattern would be free, instructions on the screen, make along, so that you can have your own jellyfish. Questions, please, if you can pop into the answers below and let me know what you think. First question then, would you be interested in a sort of crochet along tutorial deal for these jellyfish? When I say these, I'm holding one, but I'm talking about two. And you've seen them in my other videos as well. I am not referring to, excuse me, leaning out of frame again, I am not referring to the jag style that I do with the cotton, because that is obviously someone else's pattern. These ones, like I said, I recognize that there are many patterns that are similar, and it may turn out that parts of this are the same as someone else's, but I sit with a ball and a hook and I crochet until a jellyfish pops out. And yes, there is probably going to be some parts the same as someone else's pattern. There's only so many ways you can make a jellyfish after all. So question one, would you be interested in a crochet along tutorial for a jellyfish? Okay. Question two, if yes, then would you prefer that the parts where, for example, I say, you know, do 2 rows of single crochet, there's different ways that gets done in videos. So it's like, let's do 2 rows of single crochet. I'll pause here and I'll come back to you when it's finished. So that's one option. The other option is that you record the whole thing and you put it on double speed or something so that it whizzes through. I myself, watching a tutorial, I prefer the one that says pause and come back, because I'm just going to pause it, do it, and then come back. I don't want to have to I don't want to watch someone crocheting and fast forward, because it looks manic. And I don't want to have to fast forward and try and stop at the right spot to get to the next bit. So it's not all about me though. I'm willing to do what most people want. So number one, are you interested at all? Number two, would you prefer a pause and let's come back after that bit's done, or a speed through so that you can see the whiz, 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 whiz thing? So yeah, that's my questions. And then if anybody is actually interested in that, I will get to that sooner rather than later. And then I was thinking, if there's anything else that I've made and that I've said, I just did that out of my head. If you can think of something that I've done and just create it on the run, then I would be more than happy to do a video on that as well. I did say a couple of times that when I grow up, I want to be a crochet pattern magnate, but oh, man, that takes a lot of effort. A lot of effort, and I don't have a lot of effort left in me, so I don't know. I do have one pattern. Oh, that's what I have to show you too. I have a pattern on Etsy for my, oh no, she's not here, she's packed up for markets, for my Blossom. I'll put a picture there, Blossom the octopus. She is an octopus that stands up on her 8 legs, and she wears a flower crown that is completely optional, but it is made to sit on her head, but also to come off and go on your little one's head or your own head if you choose to wear it. What I wanted to say about Blossom was that the lovely Mary, who frequents quite a few of our videos, mine and other people's, has made a Blossom, and she's got an evening market coming up, and she sent me some photos of her Blossom to show me how she'd done it, and she varied the flower crown, which is fabulous. So I'm going to put some pictures up here so you can see Mary's work, and I hope, Mary, that you don't mind, but it was beautiful and I had to show it. So sorry, Mary, but yep, that's going up there for everyone to see your beautiful work. I've rambled enough. If you could pop down into the comments and let me know if you're interested and what format you like the cutscenes to be in, that would be fabulous. And if there's anything else that I've made that you'd like a tutorial for, please let me know. Or even if there's something that I haven't made and that you haven't found a tutorial for. Obviously, I'm not going to do it from someone else's pattern, but you know, simple patterns I can make up on the fly. So yeah, let me know. And just a reminder, the YouTube algorithm, YouTube algorithm is a horrible thing. If you engage in a conversation in the comments, it really helps the people that you're watching. If you Obviously, if you like and subscribe, that helps too. But the comments definitely help. If you're looking for ways to support your favorite creators, please engage with their videos. And obviously, not just mine. I'm not just pushing for mine, because I've been trying really hard to comment and like other people's and subscribe to people who I thought I was subscribed to, but I'm actually not. So yeah, it's not a nice environment. And for people who are actually trying to use YouTube as a potential way to make ends meet, you give them a bit of a nudge with your comments and things if you can. It would be really supportive. I was about to finish up, but I just thought of something else too, and talking about supporting the crochet community, as well as supporting on YouTube. And for some people, like, Instagram's a big thing as well. But if you have a friend, or if you go to like a local market, and I guess it's not just a way of supporting a crochet vendor, or, you know, it would be anybody who's selling at a market. I have mentioned this before, but I was playing around with the idea at my own market on the weekend. When people are shopping at a market and they see other people looking at something in your stall, they come and look too. If there are 2 or 3 different groups of people in that store looking, more will come. And so on the weekend, it was super duper quiet, as I've said. And so I sort of played around with the public a little bit. So I found that when I because I don't wear anything that identifies me at the stall, so I could just be anybody having a look. A lot of people who are regulars know me anyway, but not everybody. So what I did was I sort of stood around at the front of my stall when it was quiet, looking at things as if I was just looking at things, browsing. And I found that when I did that, people would stop and come in. And then even when I wasn't doing that, when there was somebody, you know, say a mother and child looking at things and talking about things, not just browsing, but actually having something and picking it up and talking about it, every single time more people came into the stall. And that happened like all day. Whenever somebody was in there, like a small group looking at things, even if they weren't together, you know, someone on the left, someone on the right, even then that would draw other people in. So if you're looking for ways to support market vendors without actually spending money, which is obviously the number one way to support them, but a really simple thing like that is just spending a little time looking at things, because I don't know why, there obviously is a psychological thing about that, something to do with I don't know what it is, but anyway, if you want to support people at the markets, that might be one sneaky way to do it, is to just stand there, have a chat with someone, not the vendor necessarily, but whoever you're with, and more people will come into that stall, and the chances are then that somebody will actually do some shopping. So yeah, it was, I mean, I knew it was a thing, but then I deliberately played with that on the weekend, and my goodness, it does make a difference. So I kind of like the vendors next door to me at the markets were having a really slow day as well. So I would pop out and smell their candles and look at their soaps and things. And so other people would then stop. So yeah, a really simple way, you know, you can support your crochet community on YouTube and Instagram, but also out there in the wild, when you go to the markets, there are ways that you can support people without having to part with your money if you've already spent your budget or were just window shopping anyway. So yeah, we can all do something to help, which would be lovely. That's one of the good things about having communities like this, is sharing the love. And okay, that's enough hearts and flowers from me, because that's not me. So I've got nothing else to show you. I've got nothing else to tell you about. Thank you so much for joining me again for a midweek check-in. I will probably do something again over the weekend, but school holidays are finishing. I have to go back to work on Monday, which is just horrific. I bought lotto tickets in the holidays and lottery tickets, and somebody else won the 25 millions that I was planning to win. So yeah, I do have to go back to work, which is just rude, absolutely rude. And it's freezing. I'd rather stay home in my pajamas and crochet. One day I will be retired. Hopefully I'll still be interested in crochet then. Thank you for coming along. I appreciate it. As I said, like, comment, subscribe, do all of those things. I know that there are more viewers than there are subscribers. So if you've been back more than once, I'd really, really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. It does make a difference and gets the videos out to more people, so I don't feel like I'm sitting here talking to a elite select few. Thanks for coming. I will see you again soon. Stay warm or stay cool, depending on your hemisphere, and have a fabulous weekend coming up. I'll see you next time. Bye.